this journey. Together we can make this journey.
calling, please?
LWR, talking to you. Stay right here on LWR.
Good morning, everyone. This is the House Party Queen on Breakfast Connection live. Finally live on LWR this morning. Good morning to the wonderful Miss L Vibes and UK Diva, who's already online. You are locked into the House Party Queen. Get ready for the interview with the lovely DJ Elayne this morning.
This is a class joint from a class station. LWR.
Yes, indeed. It's a class joint from another station. It's LWR, and you're with the House Party Queen. That's just a touch of love. I love some of these old school tunes. I've got to go back sometimes and play them. I've got a little bit of a mixed bag. We're playing some neo soul a bit later on. And DJ Elayne has selected some tunes that we're going to be playing throughout the interview today. It's not even going to be an interview, it's a chat. She's a fellow presenter on LWR, one of the original female DJs, I'm telling you, veteran that is DJ Elayne Smith. I'm humbled she's going to be on this show today. Honestly, I am. And I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. So let's just find out a little bit on the weather today, as what I usually do on my Wednesday shows. The weather has been looking good at the moment, hasn't it? The sunshine has been out. It's going to be 20 degrees in London today and around 19 and 18 around the rest of the UK. So we can look forward to some nice weather this week. Hopefully for our bank holiday weekend, we're going to get some beautiful weather that we can sit outside in our gardens. So I hope you guys have got all your sun loungers ready, all your garden equipment ready to go and chill out in the sunshine. Or even if you're out at a rave, it's a long weekend. We've had 3 this month, 3 bank holidays. This is the last of the bank holidays until August. So make the most, whatever you're doing, make the most of those bank holidays. Don't forget, the weather is actually going to be 20 degrees today. So do what you got to do, guys. Do what you got to do. Just make sure that you get some sunshine, get some peace, find some happiness. Don't forget, Elayne Smith is coming up around about 7:30. She's going to be joining me. Share the stream, don't forget, Mixcloud HPQ, or on YouTube, House Party Queen, or on Facebook, HPQ 2020. Share the stream. Good morning to you, Cheryl A. How are you, my darling? So lovely to meet you the other day. And good morning to you, Sharky DJ. How is Italy? I know you're tuning in live and direct from there. Hope it's not too early for you. Good morning to you, the lovely Martin Winter. Thank you for joining today. Can't believe the time is already 16 minutes past 7 o'clock and we're waiting for DJ Elayne to come in. She's going to be joining me about 7:30 this morning, talking to the veteran that is DJ Elayne. Remember DJ Elayne from the 291 Club and also original LWR DJ. Can't wait to speak to her.
This is a class joint from a class station. LWR.
So before I get into my interview mode or chat mode with DJ Elayne coming up, what's in the news this morning? Well, I've woken up to the news that Rolf Harris is dead. Are we sad? Are we sad for paedophiles to pass? I don't know. Anyone's death is surely sad. But Rolf Harris, he was notorious, wasn't he? Back in the day when we used to celebrate some of these presenters and think that butter wouldn't melt in their mouth, and yet they were doing all these unscrupulous things. But at the grand old age of 93, he has now passed away. Rest in peace, Rolf Harris. You may not be missed, but your death is one that should be acknowledged. Nevertheless, the crimes will precede your name. And what we grew up with is not what we are left with in terms of the memory of Rolf Harris. But anyway, we're also woken up to some more news. Netflix. Oh my gosh, the sharing of the passwords, it's over. It's coming to the UK.
Everybody's temperature's rising, so get down. The music makes you when you're moving, when you're grooving, when you really got your body. All that shaking, you're not faking, so move your body right down to the ground. Down to the music. Do your thing, baby. You're not faking, so move your body right down to the ground. Go to the music. Do your thing, baby. Do your thing for me. Yeah, why don't you do it for me?
So I had the wonderful opportunity of meeting Cheryl A. Last week or the week before at the Ari Lennox concert. Honestly, it was like a Mixcloud meetup. I hadn't seen some of these ladies in person before, only just on Mixcloud. I know them walking the Mixcloud streets and actually supporting most of the DJs out there, always in the Mixcloud room, supporting. And I had the opportunity to meet these ladies, and honestly, it was wonderful. It was quite emotional, I would say. So good morning to you again, Cheryl A. Now, back in the day, these tunes were so long, like 6 or 7 minutes long, but the good bit comes up towards the end. So I've got to play this one out. Don't forget, DJ Elayne is coming in to join us this morning. Can't wait.
Come on, everybody.
Station. LWR.
Just gonna change up the tempo slightly. Going back just a little bit. This is Bernard Wright's Who Do You Love? You're locked into the House Party Queen. Touch T. Good morning, sir. Glad you can join. Sometimes when you have an emergency there, the power wasn't in my laptop, it was about to just shut down and crash. That means this whole show would have gone, and you just saw me jump up there. Well, save the day, I'm still here, music's still playing. I'm still here on live, waiting for the wonderful DJ Elayne to come on, and I can't wait, honestly. It's going to be a show, guys. Stay tuned in, and don't forget to share the stream. Now, as I said earlier on, 20 degrees around the UK today on average. Make sure you do something exciting today. Make sure you look forward to the weekend, whatever it is. It's the bank holiday weekend, the third one this month, 3. For those of you that are in full-time jobs, you're getting paid for all these bank holidays. I don't get paid for bank holidays. So, as I said earlier on, we've woken up to the news today that Rolf Harris has passed away. The other important news today is that Netflix sharing has been cracked down in the US. It's already been banned in the US, Canada, in South America. Now it has finally reached the shores of the UK. So if you live in the same household, you can password share your Netflix as much as you like. But anyone else outside of your household, you're going to now start paying $4.99 a month per person. So for those that are sharing their Netflix, please start thinking about who your friends are. Seriously, it's that deep now. $4.99 may not be a lot, but it's enough to make you think, do I want to fork out $4.99 a month? how much of a friend is this person to me? It's a cost that we don't want, and everything is on the rise. So, you know, take time, start checking out your friends, start checking out who are your best buds. Who are you going to pay for? Who's going to be lucky? So the time is now 7:27. You've just locked in. This is the House Party Queen.
Together in sweet harmony, my love, you know it ain't right. The way you got up, ooh, the way we fuss and fight. You think you own me, don't try to control me. Oh, I'm not a puppet on the string.
So those of you that don't know, I have this wonderful princess called Willow, my cat, and she likes to make an appearance every time I'm streaming live. She likes to come on camera, so if you see this fluffy white thing, it's because Willow's come to join me in the studio. Just say hello, Willow.
Half of the time you got me crazy, crazy. Sometimes hot, sometimes shady. Sweet, bitter love. Baby, I'm so blue.
I reckon Willow should get her own show. I should make her a DJ. Teach her to DJ. What do you reckon?
Lovers do. Only you can make it right. Hey, let's put an end, ooh, to long and sleepless nights. Love is a gamble, it's too hot to handle. Oh, but understanding is the key. Hold me, caress me, don't try to possess me. Let go, don't you know that love will set us free? Oh, I don't know what to do with you, baby. Half of the time you got me crazy, so crazy. Sometimes hot, sometimes shady. Sweet, bitter love. Love is a gamble, it's too hot to handle. Oh, but
Now, I don't know if you can see this here. I'm having a fight with the princess, trying to take her off my lap. She doesn't want to come off. She knows I am streaming on radio. This is what she does all the time. Willow cat.
love will set us free. Ooh, my sweet baby.
Well, I can see the lovely DJ Elayne Smith in the green room. I see you there, my darling. Good morning. But you know what? I'm going to go and get a cup of tea as well, because we're going to start very soon. So I'm going to play a couple more tracks and then we'll bring you on.
Can we take some time before I lose my mind? 'Cause I don't wanna quit. Let's make some sense of it. You're the one I love. You're the one I'm thinking of.
And don't forget, Elayne Smith will be joining us very shortly. This is the House Party Queen on LWR Radio.
so many reasons for happiness, yet neither one is quite the same. There are those who find joy rising with the sun, glad to see another day. As for me, I'm happy as can be, for the joy I found is just like heaven here on earth, and everything feels so right. Baby, you smile, you just make my day. You smile, you show me the way. When I'm with you, girl, it's true. I fall right into love's high. Now you've got me at your command, with each day and every night. Can't believe how you just blew my mind and took my heart away. Now I have heaven here on earth, and everything feels so right. When you smile, you just make my day. You smile, you show me the way. When you smile, you just make my day. When
So
you
good morning to you, Melly Mel. Yes, I'm feeling much better now, much better. I don't know what was going on yesterday. Something I ate just went straight through me. I don't know how I did radio yesterday, honestly, but got through it. Definitely I did. So good morning to everyone in the chat room. Thank you for joining us this morning. The time is 7:34. I've got the wonderful Elayne Smith that I'm going to be bringing on shortly, and we're going to be chatting to her about her time as a serial entrepreneur, promoter, A&R manager. Oh my God, Elayne does so much. And she still is on the radio with LWR, veteran DJ. Honestly, I'm humbled by having her on my show today. Really am looking forward to this.
When you smile, you just make my day. When you smile, ooh, everything will be alright, as long as I can hold you tight. Everything will be okay, just as long as I'm with you every day. Pretty little girl, 'cause when you smile,
This is a class joint from a class station.
you just got me
So good morning again, everybody. Thank you for joining the House Party Queen on the Breakfast Connection this morning. This long-awaited meeting, I would say. I've been dying to meet up with this lady for 19 long time. Diaries have clashed, hasn't quite been possible at the best of times, but we finally have her here, the wonderful DJ Elayne. Let me see if I can add her to the stream now. Hello, Elayne. Let's see, you're going to have to unmute yourself for me. That's it.
That's good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, my darling. How are you?
I'm pleased to be here, Grand Rising. And I've got to tell you that I've had you on from the top of the hour and I'm walking around, but I'm thinking, I'm not on the radio. I'm in my kitchen. And it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I'm gonna say big up to Zach every single time. And for the first time in my life, I'm gonna beat up my chest because I'm usually quite, no, shut up, go away. But I know that it is a hard task to follow in my footsteps. But I'll pick up my chest right now because Zach has done it again. Zup, 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 zup. Big up to the house party queen. You're beautiful. You're sultry. You're holding down the breakfast show. The music's excellent. Your what they call it, your banter's lovely. And your cat. You have a cat as well.
I have two cats.
Two cats. You stopped me twice over.
Yeah. But Willow she's my absolute princess, and she often joins me in the studio. Every time I'm on, she likes to sit on my lap. I sometimes will fall asleep on the chair, wake up, and she's sitting on my chest, looking at my face. If I go away on holiday and come back, she's quite clingy, but she's my beautiful princess. She's deaf as well, so she's honestly spoilt. She's spoilt rotten. She really is. Yeah, she's deaf. She can't hear a thing, but she's a very astute cat. She holds her own. She goes out, wanders around, does her own thing, comes back, so I don't keep her indoors. And she keeps herself completely white. When she's been somewhere, she'll come back dirty because she's been looking or furrowing somewhere. I don't know. This cat is special. So she may join us again during the course of the show. But anyway, thank you so much.
Sorry, gotta stay there. Sorry. I mean, what was it like for you to realise that your cat's deaf, and how did you realise?
Well, one of my cats died. She was 18 years old and she passed away, and I was so devastated. And my other cat wasn't coping too well, so I thought I'll get a kitten. I saw this lovely kind of tan one, and I rang up just checking. The guy goes, "Oh yeah, I've got a cat. I'll bring it round tonight." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And before I knew it, this guy turns up at my house with this kitten in a box, and it was white. And I took it out. It was tiny. She was so tiny. And I thought, oh, I'll keep her, no problem. And it was only after a couple of days I realised that she was deaf. So
because what, you were calling her and she just wasn't looking round?
Yeah, she wasn't responding to noise and things like that. So yeah, I realised, and then took her to the vets, and then we found out that, yeah, she had this congenitive issue because she's white. It happens in animals that are pure white. They'll either have either eye conditions or hearing issues. And Willow has hearing issues.
Oh, well, she doesn't have any feeling issues.
No, she doesn't. She's full of love.
She's
full of absolute love. A little ball, a fluffy ball. But anyway, I felt like I was being interviewed there. But welcome, Elayne. I am super excited, for two reasons. Because, we're both fellow presenters on LWR. I grew up with this station. I, listen to the DJs all the time and listen to your dear self. So the fact that we're both now on this station, you're live here in front of me, I can't believe it. So thank you very much again for joining me on this show.
It's an absolute pleasure. And thank you for acknowledging me. Thank you.
Of course, I should do. Well, you were one of the first, I would say, super DJs of the 80s, right? You catapulted yourself at the forefront of music radio, and your breakfast show on LWR at one point had over 2 million listeners, or the radio station in its entirety had 2 million listeners because of the DJs that were on there, including yourself. You presented your own talent search show, the 291 Club, which aired on ITV and Channel 4. And you had further successes of being an A&R manager at EMI Records. And I think you had the distinction of being the first woman to hold that position in the UK. We'll come back to that anyway. And obviously presenter from Top of the Pops. You've done many, many things, and you've got more accolades to your title, which we'll actually talk about. But let's introduce you properly, right? Because you are a DJ, we know this. You are a host, you're a presenter, you're a journalist, you're an A&R manager. You are a serial entrepreneur from what I've been reading up about you. Seriously, when you've got an idea and you've had a good think about it, that's something that you're going to put yourself into. Now, before I let you speak, okay, you won a Lifetime Achievement Awards, and I saw the show reel that was put together. So for those that are not aware of DJ Elayne, and there shouldn't be many people, okay, have a watch of this. This is the lovely DJ Elayne.
Every single day, I'm gonna make something great.
Die. Exclusive on Top of the Pops. Here's Guns N' Roses version. Hit me.
Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my
3 new entries in this week's Breakers. The number 13 is Kate Bush and Rocket Man. Number 14 is Brian May and Driven by You. Number 17 is Salt and Pepper, You Showed Me. And at number 21 is Cliff Richard and We Should Be Together. That's it from Top of the Pops. We'll see you next week. See ya!
every single day. I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
I had to play all of that. That's a befitting tribute to you. Honestly, you are an icon and a legend, honestly. And congratulations on winning that award, honestly, Elayne. What don't you do? Did I miss anything there in your intro or what even the video collected about you?
Well, there is so much more to go into that. But my PR company, Passion PR, decided that we can wait for part 2 because it was just getting longer and longer and longer and longer. And of course, I wanted to include my grandchildren, my 2 boys. And, Elayne said, my PR company said, hold back a little bit. Save that for the book.
In that clip, was it you that was doing some martial arts in there? Was that you?
Yes.
So you do martial arts as well?
I was trying to. That
You're
day
trying
was
to.
absolutely fantastic because I got invited up to Ewan Briscoe's martial arts class.
Yeah.
And so I was just there really watching and interviewing the young youths that were there. And he said to me, put a suit on and I'm going to get you to break a board. And I was like, well, how much practice do I need? And he was like, don't worry. So he took me around the back and for about 5 minutes, we kind of did, you could see me trying to remember how to stand and all of that. And he walks me through it. And first time I broke the boards, it was just, so wow.
You didn't hurt your hand or anything? You came injury free?
No. I was saying to him, did you score it or something for me to actually do it, to boost my ego? And he's like, no. It usually takes people quite a few goes to break the board. So, yeah, first time trying, first time doing it. Just call me first time.
I'm telling you, you did so well there. I was amazed. I was definitely impressed. But anyway, let's start from the beginning in terms of how you started DJing and your love of music. Now, I've been looking at some of your past interviews and things, and in one of them you said, and this is typical of the households that we grew in terms of our era, our parents were into music, right? And there wasn't many households whose parents didn't spend their money in a record shop buying their 7-inches and Studio One and playing them on a Sunday afternoon or having people round having parties. And that was exactly reminiscent of your mum, right? Your mum loved music and she would go out every week and buy her singles, of which you stole the collection, I believe, afterwards.
Inherited. Commandeered.
And that's how you started with your DJing collection. Was part of it was some of the collection that your mum had actually collected. And so tell me what it was like growing up in a household with your mum enjoying music so much and how it actually influenced and shaped you.
It was exciting. I mean, when you're that young, you don't quite know what's going on, but what you feel is that everybody does this. You know, everyone randomly has people over their house staying till all hours of the night, bringing drinks through the door as they come, food being cooking in abundance, going on till God knows what, neighbors knocking on the door. Can you turn the music down? Yeah, but you can join us, you can join us. Come in, man, come in. And suddenly there's more people in the house. It was just exciting for me. I remember one particular party, I'll never forget this. So I don't know how old I was, but I decided to do what big people do and drink what big people drink.
Oh gosh.
So having asked for one of those drinks and being declined, I decided that I was going to walk around people's feet and pick up the drinks that they put down on the
Well, we all did that when we were younger. Do you remember they used to leave the drinks on the table? We used to pick up the half-drunken drunken drinks and start drinking them. Every child must have got drunk at their parents' house at one point doing that. It was a childhood memory.
You know, absolutely. I was so ill. My mum thought I was dying and I gave her such a fright. Then they realised she drunk.
But you had good memories of obviously friends and family being around. My mum was the same. My dad was a record collector as well. And, you know, the phone she'd call some people or someone would drop round and someone would bring a pot of food, drinks. And next minute there's a family gathering and it's a party. Later on in years, people would hold shebeens and things like that. But a lot of us were influenced by our parents' music. But what was your drive to become a DJ? Was it just a natural thing you progressed into, or did you have an ambition to be a DJ?
No ambition to be a DJ at all. My ambition was to be a model. I think everybody wanted to be a model, you know. But I got into DJing by pure accident. We used to, when I was about, well, I won't say my age because I can't remember. Everything's quite a blur. But myself and my friends, I do know that I had my own flat at the time and I used to work at a cab station to make ends meet. I was the only one of my group of, I think it was about 5 girls that used to go around together everywhere. I was the only one with a car, the only one with a flat. So they all used to meet at mine. So on a Thursday night after my shift, they would already be in my house. My bath would already be run. My clothes would already be laid out.
Nice
and I'd be in the bath. Yeah, it was amazing. It was mad. It was just party time. The only thing I had in my fridge was a bottle of vodka and orange juice. You know what I mean? It was a party house. And jump in the car. Then we used to religiously go down to Ronnie Scott's. Well, in fact, it was Maze, which was above Ronnie Scott's. And it was run by a guy called Keith MacDonald, who is Gary MacDonald's brother, Gary MacDonald from EastEnders from back in the day.
Okay.
Anyway, Trevor Shakes used to play there and he was amazing. And he was the only DJ that played throughout the whole night. And we just used to have an amazing time. But we became very friendly with Keith and he didn't have a dishwasher, right? So what he used to say to us is that he would give us some money if we would help him clear up the club and wash the glasses after the jam had finished.
Okay.
But of course, I don't know. I don't think I was lazy, but I was definitely protecting my nails because I've always been into, you know, and I'm thinking like, I don't think so. I don't even wash up in my own house. I've got dishwasher all the time. You laugh. When I move into somewhere new, the first thing I will buy before a cooker is a dishwasher. That's how deep it is.
Do you know, this is the first time I've moved and I've not invested in a dishwasher. I'm without a dishwasher, but I have a routine where I just don't leave any dishes in the sink at night. I just religiously wash up, but it's a chore. I'm telling you, I do miss my dishwasher. I really do.
No, I mean, it's very therapeutic, I'm told, you know, washing up. And even some guys, when they see like a mountain after a party, they'll stand there and wash up. It's very therapeutic. But no, not for my hands. No, I'm not doing it. I'll clean all day long. I'll clean your house from top to bottom. But washing up is not my thing. So anyway, to get out of that, when Trevor Shakes used to finish, because back in the day, this is a real point, right? Back in the day, DJs weren't such superstars. And what I mean by that is wherever you go now, you know, wherever the DJ is, they have got the focal point of the room, right?
Yeah.
They are the ornament of the room. They're like pop stars now. Back in the day, they would throw the DJ in any little corner. And in this instance, it was like a cubby hole where they'd taken a door off. So it was a cupboard.
Oh my God.
And the DJ's booth was inside that cupboard, right? And, you know, anyway, to cut a long story short, what I then used to do is to go back in that cupboard and turn the set back on. And with the handful of music records that they used to have there, I used to put the record on and start the party again with the people that were still in the club, helping to tidy up. And I'd mess about on the mic and carry on with myself, crack jokes and what have you. And my boyfriend at the time, Michael Williams, said, you know, you're really good at this. You're a bit of a natural. He said, why don't we ask Keith if we can get a Wednesday night, or not? No, if we can get a night, right? And Keith was like, and of course he'd been hearing me as well because he's in the club, right? So he said that could be a good idea. So he said, I've got a Wednesday night. Do you want the Wednesday night? So I said, all right, well, let's do it. Anyway, I think it might have been a month later, you know, doing some publicity in that. The place was jammed. I didn't realize between the two of us we had so many friends. It was jammed. And at the time I teamed up.
So was you playing music? Just, you didn't have a mixer or anything? You just were just putting records on at this stage, or was there a mixer involved? Or
do you know, I can't remember if there was a mixer in that booth. I can't remember, to be honest with you. I don't remember. Probably because the next venue that I did, which was LWR Rose, they had a mixer. So I should imagine that there was a mixer there as well.
But anyway, as you were saying, so you got all the people in. It was
got all
packed.
the people in.
You had loads of friends.
Loads of friends, really, really packed. But leading up to that, within that month, I spent my electricity money, £47, and went off and topped up my collection.
I laugh because it's not that now, is it?
And no, £47. I got myself a nice, healthy stack of, you know, and at the time I was playing reggae. So to compensate for the soul aspect of the night, I teamed up with another music lover. He wasn't a DJ. He just liked music. And his name was Robert. And he came along and he played the soul set and I played the reggae. So anyway, this club is jamming to his soul and everything. And then it was my time to go on. I don't know if you play out. Do you?
I don't play out. No. I just do radio.
You just do radio. Well, I was going to ask if you might understand this. When it was my time to go on, I can't remember the first tune I put on. Place pack, place jumping. It's my time to go on now. I had to steady my hand to put the needle on the record. I just dropped it, and anywhere it started is where it started. That was my introduction to, and the crowd just went mad. And I looked out and I was like, oh my God, I made them do that. And I didn't look back ever since that day. It was like, wow, it's such a feeling. And on that particular night, the owner or a promoter from the LWR Rose in Earls Court was in there in the house at the time, and then invited me to play, well, myself and Robert, to play at the LWR Rose. Mm-hmm. Did that. And then another person. So everywhere I played, I got another gig, you know. So that was, and back then I wasn't called DJ Elayne. I was just called Elayne, you know. And it wasn't until I'd got to some event, I can just remember being on stage and me asking the crowd, what do you think my DJ name should be? And someone shouted out, DJ Elayne. And everyone went, yes. I said, all right then, DJ Elayne. So it was a crowd that named me.
So it just stuck from there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is amazing how you were just putting on records to becoming a DJ and taking your career by storm from then. So, and I can sort of like a test to becoming nervous on radio. When I first did my first radio stint, one of my friends said, you'll be good for radio. I had never done radio before, or I'd done online speaking and things like that. And I did my first 3-hour show, and I was as nervous as hell going on before the show. Secretly, I had a glass of wine before I went on. And even when I did my first radio show as well, I was nervous. And speaking to some DJs, some veteran DJs out there, they still say they get nervous or butterflies just before a show. It's natural. And I do. Even coming on today's show, I was just like, this morning was get up early, make sure I do this, make sure everything's working. And so, yeah, it is a natural thing to do that. But so you obviously started doing the DJing in the clubs. How did you then move on to radio DJ? I think you said that your first stint was at YMCA. It was an in-house radio station. How did you move into radio, and then obviously LWR?
Well, yes, it was Ian Irvin and Gransville, who were friends of myself and Michael. And we all used to just go everywhere. And Eon used to play on the King's Road. Excuse me. And they just took this massive liking to me and decided that they wanted to manage me, as the young people would say, low-key manage me. And so they got me this gig. Eon was already playing at the YMCA. And so they just put me forward to the management, and they gave me a Saturday morning show, which I did. And I did that for, I'm not quite sure how long I did that for, but I was playing at, well, I say the Uppercut. Daddy Ernie says Hammersmith Chalet. So we are both kind of like in dispute about that. It's like an in-joke now. And I went up, did my sets. I'm selecting, I'm playing, I'm speaking to the audience. So I come off stage, and he was there in the wings, and he said to me, you're after my job, aren't you? And I went, no. I didn't actually know who he was. And anyway, he introduced himself to me, and he said, have you ever thought about doing radio? And I said, why, what you got? And he said, well, LWR, Zach would love to meet you. That must have been the Friday night. And he said, do me a demo tape. I'll get it to Zach. Bring it up to Halston, Hawkeye Records, and I'll get it to Zach. So did it, got home, didn't waste no time, made the demo tape, got up to Halston, met him in the shop, gave him the tape. And I think by that night, the Saturday night, Zach was calling me to meet me at Bentley's for the Sunday.
Gosh, I'm naming all these old school clubs, yeah.
Yeah. Met him in Bentley's. And I later on found out that he just fell in love with me straight away, because I was just so, I don't know what I was like. Well, I do know what I was like. I was full of beans and
vivacious.
I can do this, and yeah, of course I can do it. And he was like, can you do the breakfast show tomorrow? And bearing in mind, I'm out at Bentley's. So what time? 7:00. Where? I don't know. So, I mean, some derelict place. No, actually the first place was up in Crystal Palace. And I got there, and I think it was Eddie who ran that building. Please forgive me if I've got it wrong, but I think it was Eddie. We used to call him Eddie the Eagle. And I never forget, it was an office, and I'm trying to recall it now. And Eddie showed me the desk and everything. And he said, if we get raided, number one, say that you're a typist, right? And just say that you're making a demo tape and you had no clue that you was going live.
Those were the days that you were afraid to get raided, honestly, because obviously the LWR was a pirate radio station. Now, for those that don't know, and you can help me out on this, LWR, it stands for London Weekend Radio. Do you remember the original jingle for LWR?
Yeah, well, it was also London Wide Radio. London Weekend Radio, but it was LWR.
You
You are
are in tune
into
to the best in London
London
town.
town.
Never forget it. I have never, ever forgotten that jingle. I used to sing it all the time when it came on. So, and I was speaking to Zach the other day, actually. I said, you've got to bring back this jingle, got to get that original jingle back. I might even just do it for him and just send it off and be done with it.
Oh, we do have it. I know I have it in my bank, and I sometimes play it as well. So we
I've
do
got to
have
get that
it,
from
but
you.
we need a cleaner version. So do your thing, my darling. Do your
I
thing.
will do. But I read, now forgive me if my reading or my research is incorrect, that LWR first broadcast on the 1st of January 1983, and it was originally playing contemporary pop music during the day with some specialist shows during the evening and weekends. And then with the advent of broadcasting laws in 1984, it made the decisions to close down. But the closing was brief because then Zach took the radio station over and launched it on September 1984, and it rose again, dedicated to soul, R&B and hip hop, and it would also launch the careers of your dear self. Tim Westwood was one of those who went on to have a rap show and access to Capital Radio and BBC One. But I feel like you've been with LWR since its inception. I don't know how. It feels like you've been there since the first days of it coming along. Who else was on with you in LWR back in the day?
Oh, Camilla, my on-air sister, lover. Camilla, we formed friends very, very quickly. And it's funny how we formed friends as well, because, you guys, you just love your entertainment. They used to pit us against each other until one day we just actually spoke. And it was like, is it now? You know what I mean? Is it now? And then ever since that, we've just been tight. Who else was on there? Daddy Ernie was on there. Tim Westwood was on there. Ron Tom, JJ was in Hot Man, Barry Master Mix It B, Jasper the Vinyl Junkie. Oh my God. He's still about. What's his name? He used to do this show called Pie and Mash. Victor Vadar.
Oh yes.
He plays at a lot of my parties. Fuzzy D. I think Trevor Smith came a little bit later. Who else? Oh, God rest his soul. He wasn't actually a presenter, but he is somebody that I don't think any presenter used to go on without calling his name. Wayne Turner. Oh God, a lump just came to my throat. Wayne Turner, I don't think he was actually a presenter, but he was part of the crew. Again, Eddie the Eagle. Who else?
So many people.
So many. And he's even, what's his name? Faith, who's just died, who's just passed away, went on to be in Faith. What was his name again?
So Reds has put Froggy. What does that mean? I don't know if he's talking about somebody else there. Oh.
Froggy used to rent out sound systems. I'm pretty sure he did. And was he part of LWR? I don't remember, but there was so many. I'm going to kick myself when I come off because I used to listen
remember
to
afterwards.
all of them. Even Jigs was on LWR. And let's not talk about the ones that we know who applied to be on LWR so many times. I did not know how finicky, pickety, finicky Zach was. Zach, I'm telling you, you can't just come and say, I'm a DJ, give me some time, He has to, number one, like your spirit. He has to know that you are properly down with the cause. You can have a bag of music till it lung from you to Brixton. You're just not going to come on unless you are, there's something about your soul, first of all. You know what I mean? And then, what's your presentation like? Are you a team player? And he's somebody that doesn't, force anybody to do anything. He just watches you and see what you do naturally. And then he knows where to place you and how to deal with you. And we've had long chats and lots of laughs. And I'm sorry if you did try to get on LWR. I couldn't get on. But I think that because of that, even though these people have become, gone on to do substantial things, they still have it in their heart that they were rejected by LWR.
It's a big radio station of its time. It was almost like one of the number one radio stations. Everyone wanted to listen to LWR or perhaps get onto LWR. And I've had the pleasure, obviously, of talking to Zach. I remember the first time after I'd been on GY Radio a little while and come over and doing a show on LWR. And he rings me after a couple of weeks and says, I'm going to give you some constructive criticism now. I felt like a naughty schoolchild. And he was just going through all the pointers and everything. And I came off the phone feeling really dejected. Like, I didn't do a very good show because the last thing he said, now don't take this away, don't feel bad, because he could just hear my voice just feeling lower and lower. But no, it was really constructive criticism. It really, really was.
Yeah.
Took it on board. And as you said, he is a definitive character. I do love his spirit. He's very deep as well, our Zach. And I love having those deep and meaningful conversations with him. But on LWR, you progressed obviously from that one morning show. You were doing 5 days a week, Elayne. And was you working on top of that and doing your DJs also? So you're doing this breakfast show 7 till 10 every morning, Monday to Friday?
Yes, and I gave up my day job to do it. I remember what I did do though when I got into I think when I decided to become a DJ, I went and got a job at Jetstar Records up in Harlesden. Walked in and said to Mr. Palmer, I'm an aspiring DJ and I need a job. So he looked at me and said, you can answer the phone. So I was their receptionist for a while, And unfortunately enough, before I got into this, I was on Alfred Marks, and so therefore I mastered all the switchboards, you know what I mean? So the Regency, the Monarch, and all of these kind of things. Anyway, he then gave me the job, and then when I got into, which meant that I got free records as well and got to see everything and everyone that came in because I was receptionist. So by the time I got to LWR, obviously I couldn't do the two. So I gave up the job at Jetstar and decided that this is what I absolutely want to do. And the thing about promoters is they want the hottest thing on their bill. They know it's going to draw a crowd, let alone it's LWR. So I was being booked a couple of times a week. And obviously, the funny thing is, it wasn't the money. It was the excitement of being booked. I love to play music. I don't know what it is. And you as a DJ, I was listening to the tunes you were playing and I was singing along to them, and every tune you played, I'm not just saying this, had feelings. Do you know what I mean? You're selecting, and that's what a selector is. So and you can tell a selector by the way the music's being played. Do you know what I mean? What follows what, right? So you were actually selecting this morning and I was singing along, and it's a beautiful way to wake up. So getting back to what I'm saying, so I was doing these gigs maybe 2 or 3 times in the week, and sometimes getting home and sorting out my show, because with my show it had a format. I used to do 3 in a row by the same artist. I used to do the version excursion, read letters, because I used to go and pick up the mail from Covent Garden as well. So I would do the show. So I'd have been out the night before, not gone to bed, program my show. After my show, go up to the Covent Garden, pick up the mail and bring that back. But I was going on adrenaline. Obviously, I didn't go and pick up the mail every single day, and I didn't go and work every single night. But, anything, doing that show and doing something after that, even if it's 2 or 3 times during the week, that takes a lot of energy. But all I can say is when you're young and you really
have that energy,
fallen on something that you love, oh my God, sometimes Zach being the CEO of the station, he would have to go off and do early morning meetings. So I would cover his show as well. Sometimes he'd give me a call, Elayne, can you go on for another hour or two? Of course, Zach, is say no more. Parties, I used to play from 12 midnight. I used to be booked on my own from 12 midnight till what we used to call EastEnders the next day, because EastEnders used to finish at 2 o'clock, or used to start at 2 o'clock on a Sunday.
The omnibus.
That's right. And I would play across the board. So, how I managed to play, start playing soul and everything else was because after about the fourth gig, just going back, just to bring you up to date, after going back, being booked for the fourth time, then Robert was like, I can't do this. I can't, this isn't what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. I was so heartbroken. I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? What's going to happen now? Does that mean it's over? Well, when I look back, I am just the same as I've always been. I was like, Robert, let me loan your records for a week. And I didn't loan them to play out with them, because my mum always says, God bless the child who has his own. I borrowed them, and I sat down and I went through every single track that he had there, every single album. So no track on no album would escape me, because I didn't really know the titles, because I was a reggae head, not a soul head. So I went through all of the albums. Was that track? Boom, write that down. Boom, write that down, and wrote down everything that I liked in his collection, and then went off and bought them and had them in my collection. And then, of course, topped up with the latest as I went. So that's how I got into playing right across the board, because I weren't going to give this up. It sweet me too much. Sweet me? What? No. So
when we were younger, we could run on pure adrenaline, right? Yeah. We had the energy of whatever. And obviously with those opportunities you were getting, you just had that natural adrenaline running in you to get to do it all. Yeah. And I just remember sometimes even just going out and going to work, let alone going to work and doing radio, all the things that you were doing. But it seems to me that opportunities just seem to just present themselves to you. You didn't actually go out seeking any of this. It actually just fell into your lap, almost like this career fell into your lap, Elayne.
It did. But, this is what I think about life. If you are just doing the right thing, whether you're on the wrong path or not, just do the right thing. Just do what's in your heart and be honest and sincere about it. Doors will just naturally open. You will get seen by the people that's in that arena. So if I wasn't at the uppercut, or the Palais, right?
Yeah.
Daddy Ernie wouldn't have seen me. I remember even when after we had so much success and Robert had left us by then, Michael and I, Michael, I have to keep bigging him up, because he really was, we lived together as well. He really was my biggest fan, And so we put on events together. I remember when I got booked. Oh my goodness. This was even before I was on LWR.
Okay.
One of our friends, he was part of Mastermind. He named Gary Oz, yeah. He said, do you know what, Elayne? I'm on a DJing agency called Voltalight. Would you consider playing abroad? Right? Well, me love take a plane. So I was like, yeah, well, of course. But the only thing about this is that you would get contracts like a month at a time, 3 months at a time. And I thought, why not? So I went off, met Phil Dennis. And Phil Dennis was like he used to supply clubs around Europe with DJing equipment and lighting and all of that kind of thing. So he just thought, if I'm putting in your lighting, I'm putting in your DJ equipment, then I might as well install a DJ as well. So
Makes
everywhere
sense.
he went, and it was like, I mean, I opened up Axis in Malta, and that was the biggest club in Malta, and I opened it. And everybody, of course, is just in love with the thought of having a female presenter and black, So I think they think that having a female presenter and black, that you're just going to be this, sexy, you know what I mean? And all that. Yes, I'm that naturally, but I'm a DJ first. Yes, you see me as a black woman, sexy, gorgeous first, but you see, when I don that mic and I start drawing for my tunes, you would think that it's Coxon or Saxon or any one of them is in the house. You know what I'm saying? And to make it worse, I would stop the music and I would chat. Then it became apparent that I'm not just a DJ, I am actually an entertainer.
And that's completely different as well.
Yeah.
But a question that I want to ask you, because obviously I'm a female. I'd call myself a presenter more so than a DJ. I don't go out. I don't aspire to go out and be playing in clubs whatsoever. And I know some female DJs have been having a hard time on the circuit, getting themselves known. You didn't seem to have that problem whatsoever in terms of your career getting to where you are today. What was it like for you being a female DJ back then? Did you have any backlash as being a female, or was it widely accepted? I mean, obviously you had your name, you were a good DJ, you weren't just a woman that looked good that was just DJing out there. You knew your craft, so you had that behind you. You obviously were working on LWR as well, and you got people that that again knew your craft out there. So you weren't no joker DJ that people were thinking, oh, let's just book her just for the sake of booking. People actually wanted you. But did you have any kind of issues with being a female DJ around what we could say a male dominated environment?
I would say sometimes. When I say sometimes, one time I can remember, this was at the height of my career now. When you are really carrying the swing, when you're being booked on a Saturday night in 3 different places.
Yeah.
And, I remember getting to one club and the DJ that was on before me, he went ahead and sabotaged the set by turning all the knobs up. Now, me know that there's no way you could have been playing on that set with it sounding like that. So turn on turn feedback. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, I was just notorious for stopping the music or whatever. So I did. I just turned it, stopped it, turned down the mic first thing so that I could speak. And I was like, yeah, let me just equalize this thing. I don't remember the word verbatim, but I'm chatting to the crowd and I twist and I turn. I'm just set up the song. And of course, the owners ran to my assistance as well. So I didn't do it all myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it did not faze me. And I didn't say anything about the other DJ. All I did was come with such a tune that just raised the roof, and and that's what you do. I remember
you just show them, innit?
Yeah, that's what you do. So it's about knowing that you're good, and if you want to bring the fact that I'm female in it, then I'm already better than you. Because I'm done good already. I'm done better than you already. I know I can, and I had that attitude. I never vocalized that. I just did it. Do you know what I mean?
Arrogant. You was just very confident with it.
I just did it. Call me the silent assassin. And on top of that, I just knew my music, loved my music, could assess a crowd, and you can't come out of the LWR studio and be whimsical. And I think that's why a lot of women have a hard time, because the minute guys see that you're more into how you look and that's what you're playing on, they can easily shove you to one side and you keel over in your heels. No, I would do things like walk up to the club if I was on my own. Michael wasn't there at the time, and if I had to park my car a little too far from the venue, I'd leave my records in the car, walk up to the venue and pull a young man out the queue. You know what I mean? I'd be like, you waiting to go in, I really need your assistance. Would you help me carry my records? And number one, they're just so over the moon that DJ Elayne's speaking to them. And some of them would give me lip like, you know what I mean? Well, you want to do a man's job. You want to do a man's job, so you carry your records. And I'd be like, are you going to help me or not?
I love your resolve.
And then it'd be like, well, what are they going to say? And them and their friend, come on, just come, man. And them and their friends would come, and then I'd walk up with two guys carrying my record box. So I always knew that, yes, I'm a woman. I'm not trying to be a man, but I am a really good DJ presenter who happens to be a woman. Let's not get it twisted. And, subsequently, there would be promoters out there who then want to put on all these events where it's female only and would ask me to be involved. And I wouldn't. I would never be on a bill where it's just female only, because we are not puppy showers.
Exactly. That is correct. But what you've done is, you've let your music do the talking. You are an esteemed DJ out there, and it'd be silly not to want to book you because what you're saying, because you're a female and they don't want to do that. That's crazy. It should be about people's craft, not about their gender. And the fact that we don't have as many ladies up there may mean that sometimes we need to go back and look at our craft and make sure that we are appropriating ourselves enough to be on that scene. Because I hear some women moaning and groaning and that sort of thing, but not all of them have done that graft, been doing it for 20 or 30 years or whatever. You can't just pop into the scene and think that you become an established DJ and think that everyone's going to book you. I'm friends with a female DJ called Miss L Vibes, and she is absolutely amazing, and she gets booked left, right and centre. Why? Because she's a damn good DJ, and she can entertain on the mic. And I think for some women as well, there's that entertaining bit, the mic bit, I think that doesn't quite connect with women. Men naturally have that strong commanding voice, and that can entertain. And I think for some women, it's
East Birmingham.
Sorry, it's my phone. And for some women, it's not the same. They haven't got the same strength of character or the voice, or don't have that entertainment factor.
Well, I'll give you a little. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in there. Go on,
That's
continue
okay.
what you're
Go
saying.
ahead.
Go on.
I was going to say, but you've got that all in one. As you said, you are not just a DJ. You are an entertainer. You can entertain the crowd, and L Vibes does the same. I've been out with her, and I see she, before her set, she comes in early. She watches the crowd. She watches what all the DJs are playing, and she assesses the crowd. So by the time she goes on, she knows exactly how she's going to roll it and what's going to kick it and what's going to get it going. Sorry, Elayne.
And that's so important, so important. But with that mic thing, it's not because our voice isn't powerful. It's mic technique. It's absolutely mic technique, because if that were the case, then we wouldn't have female speakers and we wouldn't have female singers and we just wouldn't have any females working the mic. It's actually mic technique. And what a lot of the females do, I haven't got a mic in my hand. Number one, they hold that mic. It's all flimsy in their hand, and the mic is down there. So suddenly you've got this tinny voice. So if I come back here and then they're on the mic and they're trying to compete with the crowd and compete with the level of the music. So they're like, hi, everybody. How you doing? Wave your hands. Yeah, it's DJ. I can't use the mic. Right? Get close to your mic. It doesn't matter how many people is in the room. It doesn't matter how loud that music is. If you get close to the mic is going to pick up your dulcet tones. And as I get closer and closer and closer. You're literally inside my voice now. You're inside my voice box now, aren't you? Can you hear it?
Yes, I can
Can you
indeed.
really hear it though?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Right. So, it's about using that mic. Then if I'm going to get louder, of course, I'm going to come back a little bit. But I should be able to speak normally without shouting at that tone when using my mic. And when I raise my decibels, it's because of adrenaline now. And I want to kind of, convey some sort of excitement, and you know what I mean? Then the smile comes in, and then I haven't moved any further from my mic, have I? I'm just here, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds. Do you know what I mean? So it's all like mic technique and not being afraid of the mic, and also having some sort of idea about what it is that you're going to say when you get on that mic, and that's what it is. That's what it is. Sometimes, I've been hosting and comparing for so long now that I can actually produce a show from the actual stage where maybe the event manager hasn't given me a running order, or the running order is all over the place, or some people hasn't turned up, so they can push me out on stage and say fill for 10 minutes while we wait for that or whatever. And through experience, I know what to do with that crowd. Do you know what I mean? So it is trial and error, but the first thing is to know your limitations, have a few things that you come back to, a few strap lines that you always come back to. So you've got those strap lines. So if for any reason you stray, get distracted, the equipment falls down. I heard that you just about lost the energy in your laptop earlier. That kind of thing happens. Have that set piece that you can just say confidently while you're under the table, plugging everything back in. You know what I mean? And then you just fly. Know that you're going to pick on somebody in the audience.
I'll tell you what, behind the scenes on radio, it's so funny, because at one time my laptop that was powering my music completely just went. And luckily I got Spotify, and I got my tablet, and I'm there having to talk whilst plugging in a different set of equipment and plugging out and getting the list up and playing the music, and was literally sitting there chatting for about 15 minutes about absolutely nothing. I was recalling stuff from the back of my brains just to have a conversation, so people couldn't hear pure silence. So I feel your pain, but that was some really, really good advice out there for some of the female DJs. I must admit, some I know kind of scream down the mic, and I think, oh God, you could do with a little bit of vocal training on there. If you could get your voice up to par the same way you're playing the music, honestly, you'd be very, very special. But as I said, you've got that craft perfected, and whatever the case, you hit the jackpot, obviously, after your stints at LWR by the BBC came knocking at your door, right? Yeah. They came knocking at your door to come and work for them. What happened there? Tell us about when they actually approached you.
Well, I was still doing the breakfast show at the time, and it was BBC Public Services, because they got two, and I used to get it mixed up. So there's BBC World Services and the BBC Public Services. And what they used to do is they used to produce shows, set pieces that used to then go in a bank, and radio stations, satellite at the army bases used to, their producers used to go in and pull out the pieces that they wanted to install in their shows. So this producer, I wish I could remember her name. She came looking for me, and we had lunch. And whilst it was exciting, it wasn't what I was used to, because my first thing was playing music. I have to have music. And whilst I was interviewing, she was proposing that I interview music artists. It was like, you were building packages. So, for example, when I interviewed Jermaine Jackson through them, it would be like you interview Jermaine Jackson, and whilst you then put the piece together and then maybe play a piece of a minute or two of his record, come back to the talk, and those kind of packages, right, which would last for about, say, 15 minutes or so. And when she was describing it to me, I'm just a basshead. What do you mean play only like a minute of a tune, you know? So if I had taken that on full time, it would mean that I wouldn't be doing my breakfast show. And of course, I lived for that. So I said to her, you know, will I still be able to do my breakfast show on LWR? And she was like, I don't know that. I didn't hear that. I don't know you're doing that. I kept in.
The irony of being on the BBC and being on a pirate radio station.
I mean, you know, that was it though, wasn't it? You know, these are, and God bless her, because she then took my craft and developed it some more. I had an idea of editing because, of course, I did put my what do you call it? My demo together for LWR. I remember doing that. I had this little 4-track studio. In fact, I've still got it there now. And I did that. So I had like some idea, but she took me to a level whereby I had to edit on those tapes, these things, right? These things, reel to reels. So she gave me a BBC edition ewer, and we would book the interviews. And obviously one of the reasons why she wanted me is because I knew the artists as well. So Cyrita, R. Kelly, Jermaine Jackson, you know, I've got the reel to reels. I can't wait to try, you know, digitalize them with all these interviews and that. And then once you had been to these interviews, first of all, she sent me off to a fake interview, right? And this was my baptism by fire. By the time I got back, she was beaming, because obviously they were assessing me and ticked all the boxes. She makes you feel comfortable, all of these things that was required to do this job. So anyway, the toughest part was really the editing. You had your little China graph, you had these machines, and there was like a system that you had to use, because let's say you sliced a piece of the tape and you sliced it too close, cutting off a word or something. And if you made the mistake of dropping that tape on the floor with the rest of the, I think there used to be a saying of like, on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything on the cutting room floor hasn't made the cut, right? And my God. So you had to be methodical and systematic, cut the tape. They had this sellotape that you then put it back together again. And so learning to edit in that way. And then obviously I had to do the voiceovers to introduce the piece. And so that was baptism by fire, because it, you know, she just showed me what to do, showed me. It was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. And then they wanted me to, they introduced this show called WPFM, I think it was called, and it was hosted by Joe Wiley and Gary Crowley in their young days. And I was going to be the person, or, you know, I was the person that was out on the road doing all the vox pops and that. But I think that's where I drew the line, because even though it was a good place to be, because obviously they've become household names, I really did not like the fact that I was doing the legwork on the road, and these two people are sitting up there comfortable when I'm a big, do you know what I mean? And I'm in, you know, and I'm big on my circuit. You don't know who I am. I do the breakfast show on LWR. What am I trotting at my, you know, shoe seal like my father sells shoes or something? I was just like, I politely just kind of like came away from after doing about a couple of those, because I mean, and I did the right thing, because it didn't hinder my career. I went on to do Top of the Pops and all of these other things. But I think that I tell you that to say that one of the gifts that my mum and dad gave me is they gave me freedom of speech, and they always encouraged me to work towards giving yourself choice, right? So the fact that, yes, it was lovely, and she tried to persuade me this could take you to dizzy heights. Do you know what I mean? Starting from this level and that. But Gary Crowley and Joe Wiley, I don't know what background they had. I don't think they had the background that I had been on LWR, but there they were, sat in a studio. There was no resentment there. It was just that, what am I doing trodding road? Do you know what I mean? Why am I trodding road? So I decided to not do that and just, you know, came away from that little stint there. But I think I did the editing thing for about a good year and a bit, which was that I absolutely loved. It really, it was
gave you good
really
grounding,
good
as I
training
said.
ground. It really was. It was. And I'd get interviews from that to go on my show, on the breakfast show as well. So it, you know, interviewed Run DMC, you know, so many people during that stint. So, you know, yeah, you got me reminiscing. Yeah.
So how did you get the gig at Top of the Pops? Because watching that show reel, I was like, I remember that program. I remember you standing there and saying that. You know, everyone watched Top of the Pops back in the day, right? That was the only music thing on TV. You know, everyone was glued to it. Was it 7 o'clock? Top of the Pops? I can't remember.
Yeah, was it a Thursday night or something?
Yeah, but that was prime time. All right, that was considered prime time. You've made it big now that you're on Top of the Pops. What was it like back in the day? I mean, what was it like, first of all, to start doing TV and get something like Top of the Pops? How did you feel then in terms of the stage of your career?
Well, before that, after we had come off air, I then got a job with B Sky B. I don't know if, you know, I mean, they're still about now.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But they had a music channel called The Power Station. And again, my boyfriend at the time heard the fact that they were auditioning, but he heard late and the auditions had already closed. And he did not stop beating that phone until he got through to somebody that you know, he could talk to. And he was like, listen, no, you have to see this girl. You just have to. And that's how he was going on. I'm sitting next to him, watching him, you know, fight in the corner. Anyway, I got there. They gave me the audition, and I turned up in this cowboy hat, a white kind of wrap over top, white 501 jeans, cowboy boots, and feeling all of that, you know what I mean? Because, you know, we were stylers back then. And I'll never forget one of the links that I did. And again, it was like, you know, thinking on your feet. And I had to introduce Yaz, The Only Way Is Up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had to introduce that video. Yeah, and I remember saying something that, something like, I don't know if the only way is up for Yaz, but I certainly know the only way is walking across the road to the bank, or something corny like that. And then I had to interview Donatio, who was the editor of Time Out magazine at the time. So I interviewed him, but by then I already had my ground in interviewing and stuff. So even though my heart was pumping, because it always does in an interview, doesn't it? They could see enough that I could do it. And then next thing I knew, I was hosting 4 shows on the one channel. Just call it Elayne FM. Do you know what I mean? And then I think it was soon after or just before, I can't remember, that my timelines are all over the place, but I was hosting the 291 Club. And the 291 Club was like, if you were any way insecure, that crowd would eat you up. And of course I wasn't. You know what I mean? If they started,
It's like the original sort of like X Factor, wasn't it?
well, yeah.
In terms of the voting or the baying crowds, or, you know, like you said, if you weren't good, that was it. You would, you know,
Well, I mean, the thing
they'd go
is
for the
that what I
jugular.
always say about the X Factor is where it was the judge's choice and the people's voice, and the people would certainly let you know if they didn't like you. That was a crowd of people, but Simon Carroll became the crowd. So it's one voice. You follow me? Just one
Yeah.
voice. Where if with the 291 Club, it was collective. I don't know which one's worse. I really don't. But if you could last the 3 minutes on the 291 Club stage, then you've definitely got a career, and you're probably going to go all the way. You know what I mean? So, you know, when I think it was either someone came down from Top of the Pops and decided that she's the one, you know what I mean? Because at that time, what they had done is they decided to change their DJ lineups, their presenter lineups. And so they got 4 of us, two black people, 1 girl, 1 boy, and 2 whites, 1 girl, 1 boy. So I thought that was nice. Do you know what I mean? The balance was perfect, you know? And I'm going to tell you, we all did about 4 of those shows, and then they decided that they would run with the BBC presenters because they've already got them on radio, and that's when you saw the BBC presenters take over. But it was absolutely amazing because it's a program that I grew up on. Everybody, you know, there's certain programs that everybody would make sure they saw or heard. That was what's his name, Tony Williams, the late Tony Williams. You know, that was Top of the Pops. That was the chart show on I think it was Radio 1 or something. You always wanted to know what was in the charts. You know, and these were programs on Top of the Pops, you know, and especially if we had one of our acts on Top of the Pops, oh my
That was
god,
it. We'd all go crazy and tune
we'd all
in,
go
right? If it was
crazy.
some
We'd be
kind of
phoning
reggae
everybody.
band or,
Yeah, we'd be phoning everybody to say what so and so's on Top of the Pops. To now be in the studio, hearing your voice booming across the room, it was just like, it was nerve-wracking to say the least. It was really nerve-wracking because it moved so fast. It was so fast.
Well, talking about moving so fast, it's already 9:15. Can you believe we've just been chatting? Do you know, yesterday I asked Elayne, I said, give me 3 tunes. I want to play some meaningful tunes for you. We'll play them throughout throughout the chat. We haven't played one. Right?
I know.
We've been chatting away so much. We've pushed up on time. But I've just got a final couple of questions I want to ask you, because I want to wrap up the show, this chat by about 10:52 and give you back some of your day. But one of the things I've heard about you also is that obviously you was an A&R manager at EMI, and you've got a passion for new music. In fact, you're dedicated to finding new talent. And you've got your own labels still. Is that Fresh?
Yeah, Fly Fresh and Fat.
Fly Fresh and Fat. That's it.
Yeah.
So, is it? Do artists actually give you their music all the time, or do you actively go out and search for new talent also?
Well, it comes in many, many different routes. It comes via my show. It comes if I see people on TikTok or whatever online. It comes by recommendation. So many different ways that I find new talent. So we are still putting together. I mean, Fly Fresh and Fat Volume 2 has been in the making for just absolute years. But, you know, when you are trying to build multi-businesses, then, you know, everything does take time. But when you are, I put it down to, or I liken it to like maybe knitting a blanket. just keep knitting, just keep doing what you're doing. Whatever needs attention, you give it attention. And all of a sudden, this blanket has been knitted and will continue to be knitted by somebody else that you give the needles to. So, you know, and the blanket that I'm knitting has got so many different textures and colors and all these things, because I'm involved in so many different things. And before we wrap up, I've got to tell you about my current baby, which is called Him and Her-ology. And I've turned into Cupid. I've decided that at this, you know, well, it's come to me because at this age, I'm thinking to myself, if anything happens to me in the night, as like a few months ago, I had this headache that was like it felt like a good 2 years long. But it was only about 2-3 days, and it was just intense. And I couldn't lay down, couldn't sit up, and there was nobody next to me to hand me an aspirin or to call the ambulance. I actually thought, this is it, this is my life, I'm over, let me just start calling a few people and telling them bye. That's how I actually felt. And it just occurred to me that, like, you know, this dating program that you've been wanting to do for so long, now is the time to do it. So as well as, you know, getting myself coupled up, you know, why don't we get a few of my friends who are also single coupled up? In fact, why don't we invite everybody who's single? And not only will we invite single people, we'll also invite maybe couples who are together and maybe they need to fall in love again. Maybe, you know, they are in love, but we want especially the couples who are in love to be involved because they bring a certain energy to the room. So I launched it at my birthday party, and it was a singles and couples party. People didn't understand the concepts, but people who were just, I mean, one couple, for example, who just recently started dating, said they absolutely fell in love at that gig by simply watching couples who are together and showing off themselves all over each other, which is what we want, you know. And
it's very infectious, by the way, couples that are all over each other, because, you know, with myself and my partner, sometimes he's a very passionate gentleman, and sometimes when we're out and he's hugging or we're holding hands and people look and be like, oh, and then you see other couples trying to emulate that. So it is very infectious, and it's nice to see people in love. It's nice to see people who are happy and contented, because it kind of makes you feel like, oh, I want to get there. It's like utopia, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And that's you get it, that you absolutely get it. So that's the concept behind it. On the 7th of May, we did our walk and talk. So I have a dating site at the moment, but it's a dating site with a difference. You're not swiping left and right and all of that. You're more or less there to have a conversation and join the group events. So, for example, you know, like how maybe back in the day and even still now, you'll go to a party, or maybe you might see this person at the bus stop, or you've seen somebody on the bus or the bus stop or whatever, and you didn't have the courage to speak to them. So the next day you set your clock. Well, I saw her or him at 7 o'clock. I'm going to make sure I'm there every single day until I see that person again. Do you know what I mean? Until you start talking and getting on the same bus and meeting. So this is the same concept. It's like you may have met them at one of the events, let's say my birthday party. You didn't exchange numbers, but because we're all part of the same community, we're now, you're invited to go attend the next event that I'm doing. And so the following event from my party was the walk and talk. So it's all like, we are going to date, but in a kind of group fashion, and no one is like, obligated to spend their whole time with that one person. Do you know what I mean? So it was amazing. We walked and we talked along the river, and 1 minute you was talking to this person, the next minute you was talking to that person. And then by the time we got to the pub, you could actually see who actually clicked, So the next one,
a good concept.
Yeah. So the next one is the 4th of June. And I urge everyone, it's completely free for this event. not all of the events, but the walk and talk, it's free. And we'll meet in the West End. We do keep it as a secret location because we don't want all the vagabonds to turn up. We want you to register so that we can protect our men and protect our women. So we know everybody that's there. Do you know what I mean? Because you've registered. And you just turn up and we walk for about, I think it's about 3 miles, and it's a really comfortable Sunday morning walk. And you get to see that person who you met in the dance, like, you know, before. And, you know, men are saying how women are so notorious for turning up in their high heels and their, do you know what I mean? Come hither, you know what I mean? And they fall in love with that image. But when you are now in the midday sun, right, they get to realize that we're still that beautiful. We may have on trainers and vice versa. You get to see the person in their real skin. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to say, because we've lost, number one, we've lost the art of conversation with the advent of technology and mobile phones. I myself do not talk to people that much anymore. After being at work all day and being on the radio, by the time it gets to the evening, I'm leaving little voice notes. People will ring up, be like, I don't want to talk to you, you know, or text messages. And of course, walking and talking, we sit on the sofa with our phones, or in the car, or in the pub, or over dinner, and we don't put that mobile handset down. And I hope your walking and talking means that they're not allowed to have a mobile phone. I hope they are banned completely. There's such good and bad things at the same time, but that concept is absolutely wonderful, and I'm hoping you're plugging that left, right and centre. I've seen the flyers on your Facebook page. You know, maybe I might have to just step in and have a little side look, even though I'm not single. But as a couple,
as I said, couples, you know what I mean? Come along if you're a couple. It's amazing. That's my baby at the moment. And within the next 2 years, I want to give away 2 weddings. So I'll give away a wedding to a couple who has been together for over 2 years, 2-3 years, and that'll be process of elimination. And then I'll give away a wedding to a couple who's met on the program. So that's 2 weddings.
Well, there you go. For the couples there on Mixcloud, if you kind of register, you never know, and you're not married, there's a wedding to be given away there.
Yeah.
But listen, there's some other, like I said, you're a serial entrepreneur, and there's been some other projects that I read or listened that you were going to get involved with. Now, in one of the shows, you spoke about setting up a sewing school.
Yes.
So in your mum's name, right? Because you're, what was you going to call it? Iris
Ramses.
May. Yeah.
Iris May Ramses.
That's it. My mum used to be a seamstress, and I remember the good old days at school when we learned humanities and did sewing. I learned to sew as well, but lost the art and lost the skill. It's been something I've wanted to pick back up for ages. I'm into crafting at the moment, making little dolls' houses. So when I heard you talking about that, it really resonated with me. I was like, oh my God, sewing, you know, all the good stuff like knitting and crochet and cross stitch or whatever you want to call it, all the good stuff we used to do is gone, and we don't talk about sewing anymore. It feels like it's like an ageist thing, it's an older thing. But the fact that you wanted to set up a school in your mum's name,
I still do, and I'm still doing it. I'm only quiet on it because the idea is to build a classroom on her own land in Westmoreland. That's the idea, but the land needs a lot of work, right? And I'm actually sitting here building it in my head and trying to figure out how I'm so that's what happens with me. I'll start something and then I'll go quiet, but it's not that I've abandoned it. It's just that I need to work out how I'm going to make it happen, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, boom, this is how I'm going to make it happen. Then it's just full speed ahead, and then I'll just do it. So it's just on the back burner. It's something that is going to be that is going to happen. I've set up a GoFundMe page to help it happen, where some kind people have already donated to it. I think it expires in about, I think it's about a year's time or so. So I've got to keep my eye on that. But I'm absolutely going to set up that sewing project one way or another. So even if it's not in the Caribbean to begin with and it happens here, then so be it. But that absolutely has to happen because, you know, when Mum came to this country, so many as like many of our her peers and that and our parents, their only survival for a lot of them was
Being a
sewing.
seamstress, yeah. They
And
used to
that was
make their
their
own clothes.
survival.
They didn't buy clothes either. They would make their own, go and buy the material and make the clothes. My mum very
Curtains,
rarely
bedspreads,
shopped. Yeah.
nappies, even knickers, marina. They'd make the lot, you know. So and I mean, I remember like one of the reasons why my father fell in love with my mum, because back in the day, women used to patch the crotches of trousers and underwear, where if now
Yeah.
they just throw them away. Do you know what I mean? But she said she just took one of these old underwears and cut that up, made a patch in, and the way and it was all hand done. And he was like, boy, but Pearl, you can't cook, you can't sew, you can't this, you can't that. You're great, man. You're great.
We were pretty but my parents were pretty self-sufficient, I'm telling you, to make things work. They really did. Now, one of the other things you said you were going to learn to do was learn an African language, not just a language, but an African language. And you've inspired me, definitely, to start looking into certain things.
Yeah.
And because I always thought, I love German. Don't ask me why. I did German at school. I love the German accent and I love the German language. I used to work for a German bank, so I was around Germans and I was in my element.
Yeah.
Not French, not Spanish, but German.
German,
And I always wanted to go back and relearn the language, but I'm just thinking I want to learn the language of my brothers and sisters, right?
Yeah.
I want to go and learn more about the motherland and be in tune with myself, and what more than to go and learn an African language. So I'm gonna set a target for myself to do some things as well. I'm not gonna name them right now because it might come back on me that I haven't achieved it yet. But you know, it's certainly gonna go in my bucket list of things to definitely do. But thank you, Elayne. I haven't gone through half the things I wanted to go through. We've just completely run out of time because we've just been having this great conversation and getting to know you a lot more. And people have obviously seen you on the radio, have watched your career from its inception right up until now, and don't know some of the sides to you, can't meet you in person, but doing interviews and shows like this gives us the opportunity to get to know sides of you and understand where you're coming from. And you are a one-woman machine, a definitive inspiration. I kid you not, you really are. And you've still got that energy going. I'm not even going to say your age or what age you may be near, but still looking good, girl. Still running with the wind there, honestly. And you're amazing. You're definitely my icon, a legend, a veteran in this scene, and an inspiration to many, many of us female DJs out there. If we need to look at where we want to go, we'll just look up on that pedestal and we'll see you, Elayne Smith. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It means the world to me to be acknowledged by, you know, young people like yourself. And for me,
I'm not that young. I'm not that young. I look young, but I'm not that young. I'm kind of near your age too, you know.
Well, you know, the thing is that, you know, all right, I know what you mean, but, you know, for me, I'm looking at you and you do look fresh and you do look young. And as I'm concerned, I've now labelled you a showbiz 25, right? You know, that's what I've labelled you. You're a showbiz 25. Look at that little. I saw you on the beach with Sharky D. You know what I mean, DJ Sharky. You know what I mean? I was saying, my girl, just Ole. You know, I hope you two are getting married, and I wish that you go all the way. I bestow that on you. You know, because that's one of the things that I really want to get across, that, you know, we've got to pick our partners and stick with them through thick and thin. That's what our parents did. And I think that with Sharky D by your side and you by his, you two are going to move mountains. You both look fantastic. And, you know, that's an inspiration in itself. But getting back to you and your talent, darling, you are an absolute natural. And I'm so proud to be a part of your team, you know, and I am going to return the honor and ask you to actually come to my studio and let's do a show together. So, you know, I think that would be exciting, wouldn't it? That'd be really exciting. You know, we can sit and chat about man.
Listen, I've got a lot to say, you know. That you'll see a different side of HPQ come out there when we start talking about men.
That's the point. Let me
honestly.
ask you this then. Let me ask you this. I wanted to ask you, why are you called House Party Queen?
So, yeah, blame Sharky DJ. Now, what actually happened is I used to go by the moniker Real Soca Deal. I was into soca. I was a soca queen. I mean, I used to go carnivals, go Notting Hill Carnival, performing carnivals all around the world. I didn't know anything about this scene or radio. COVID hit, shut down every carnival around the world. And we had the benefit of Zoom. And I had contacted Sharky about doing a Zoom party. And then we connected. And then we started to do Zoom parties. And he said, you need a name. And I'm like, what do you mean I need a name? I don't need a name. He said, yeah, you do. And at the time, the House Party app was out. Right, everyone was on the House Party app before anything, and he said, "Call yourself House Party Queen." I'm not House Party Queen. I'm not taking that name. I took the name. It's now stuck, and you know, I shortened it down to HPQ. I'm trying to revert over to my proper government name, you know, at some point, but it just sticks. I can't get rid of it right now, but at some point it will go because it just seems like I am a House Party Queen. And I am, by the way. When I do go out, I do party like it's 1999.
Excellent.
But it is solely just for that reason.
Well, I love the abbreviation HPQ because it is a talking point. What's that stand for? What's it abbreviated for? And then the House Party Queen, that brings out the playful side. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. But yeah.
Well, the funniest thing is when I used to go on, when we was obviously using Zoom for the parties, and I used to go on private calls or work calls for Zoom using my private laptop, and my backdrop House Party Queen would be up there flashing up on the screen. Or the name House Party Queen is still in there because it saves the name, and I'm trying to explain to prospective employers, you know, it's got House Party Queen up there. It didn't sound very professional, so it was a very good talking point. It's a very good talking point, my name, so I use it for that. It breaks the ice. It certainly got me my last job. We were talking about radios and DJs and me being the House Party Queen. I did bump up myself a little bit, but you know, I got the job.
Brilliant. Congratulations.
But on the last note, last words from Elayne, what advice would you give out there to any other words of wisdom for aspiring female DJs? You gave some great advice earlier on about mic technique, definitely, but any other pearls of wisdom that you'd have for aspiring female DJs or even aspiring presenters like myself?
Just absolutely know who you are. You have to know who you are, and you have to know how you like your eggs. You have to know, seriously, you have to know the music you like, right? You have to know that. You just have to know what you love, and you know who you love and the things you love doing, because one of the things about being a radio presenter, if he's talking about that specifically, it's personality driven, and through everything that you love, your personality will shine. And whenever you speak about it, you're just going to make the person on the other side either want to do it, look into what you're saying, but the love of whatever it is that you're speaking about and the passion. Oh my God, the passion, you know, that in itself is just beautiful to watch when somebody's passionate about something. So if you're going to be a radio presenter, yes, there's a technique that you have to learn. So know your craft and all of that. But I would say have a passion and just be in love with yourself. And in order to be in love with yourself, you do have to know how you like your eggs. You do have to, you know, do you know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say here is that don't be a copycat. Yes, you can be inspired, but there's a difference between inspiration and directly copying. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when you copy something, you can't through because you've got no real personality. You're just painting by numbers. But if you absolutely love something, you know, you can talk about it all day long, like you were speaking 15 minutes until, you know, you went and make Sunday dinner and did everything, and you know what I mean, and you were back online again. So be a great orator about the things that you love, then you are actually ready for radio. We haven't played one tune
No, we haven't actually. I played for half an hour and that was it. No, no music, no nothing, just pure chat, which is what we both love, right?
And we do. We like to chat, and by the same token, I love music so much that sometimes, I mean, Zach had to call me up on Saturday because no Monday. I do a 5-hour show on a Monday, and that's a syndicated show. And I think I got into about the third hour, and Zach gave me a call. And he said, "Are you there, Elayne?" But I was absolutely dead on my feet that sometimes when you're that tired, you begin to speak backwards. You know what I mean? So you're trying to say one word and it's coming out as 2 and 3 words because your brain can't process. So I just thought,
Yes.
if you haven't got anything to say, don't say anything at all. So I just leaned back on my music. And I've got to tell you, I've listened to that show about 3 times already because I'm just pulling out the tracks. There's no playlist. I'm just pulling it as it comes, how I feel, and just playing it. And it was just easy, lovely listening, gave you a bit of dancehall, Afro beats. So if I did not love the music as well, I would not be able to do that. I just wouldn't be able to do that. You know what I mean? So even if it's 10 tunes that you've got to play, you make sure that those 10 tunes that you selected, you absolutely love them. Sometimes I could bore you with the details of a track because I'll have you listening out for the triangle. I'll be like, oh no, you've got to listen out for this triangle, the way it drops. You know what I mean? Because I know that track. I love that track. Listen to these harmonies. I'll have you listening like a true, do you know what I mean, engineer or what have you. So everything I played, what did I play the other day? And I know Eyebrows was looking up Blank Space by what's her name? The one that, what's her name? Taylor Swift.
Oh yes.
I love that tune, and the video as well is like about a psycho chick, you know what I mean? But the chorus in that, because I'm also a lyrics person as well, a lyrical person. I love lyrics. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, have a listen to that track when you
I
you
will
get
do as soon as I come off. I will do. But I love the fact that you
Proper
love
pop.
Well, I love pop as well. I used to listen to Capital Radio every morning before, I go to work to keep myself in line with pop music. Now I'm just on Mixcloud, listening to Mixcloud. I really do have to explore my eclectic tastes again. And that's what you have. You're very eclectic. You listen to all sorts of music. And obviously we're presenting Top of the Pops as well. You just didn't have R&B acts. You had acts from all over the world, including some of the rock stars.
Yeah.
But Elayne, once again, thank you. And in fact, I can't go yet because Touch asked me to ask you a question in the chat, and I haven't asked it yet. And he asked about, please can you ask Elayne how she met her DJ partner, DJ Dimples?
Oh.
So this is coming from Touch.
DJ Dimples. Oh my God. I think I was playing at a house party and either she was playing or I was playing or what have you, but I'm very attracted and have always been attracted to women that can hold their own behind the decks. And, DJ Dimples, she caught me like man anyway, you know what I mean? And, she can rock a mic, she can select, and she's like, oi, 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 oi. And she's just proper street, you know what I mean? So we just instantly hit it off. But it was a party that we were at. I don't remember if it was me playing or she playing or us playing. I don't remember, but we just hit it off. And then I think we started knocking about, going to this place and that place. And then next thing, I don't know if it was me that introduced her to Red Records. I can't remember. But next thing she was selling music in Red Records. But yeah, big love for Dimples. I'm not quite sure where she is right now, but I think she went off, had a baby and disappeared.
She disappeared
like last year.
Well, there you go, Touch. I asked the question for you, so thank you very much for asking that. Well, that is all I had in terms of questions for now I had for you. I've got so much more, but we'll be going on to like 10 o'clock. And unfortunately, I've got to try and log into work now as well. But Thank you so much again
Thank you
for coming
for
on. I
having
look
me.
forward to coming onto your show at some point in the future.
Definitely. Yeah.
Again, we've worked a little while to make this happen, and I'm glad it's happened now. And you've made my morning, and probably made a few other people's morning as well. So thank you again. I'm going to love and leave you to get on with your day, and we will talk soon. Now, before you go, actually, you had selected some tracks. I at least got to play one or two of them, right?
Oh,
So,
God. Can't remember. Give me the titles of what I've sent over.
So, well, Life is Just a Moment, Roy Ayers Part 1 and 2. I'll play those ones. Tell us about the background to these tunes and why you selected these tracks.
Right. Life is just a moment. That's exactly how I live my life, because for me, the most amazing thing about today is the moment that you stand in. So, this is such a precious moment for me. And so I do believe that you just make every single moment as if it's your last. And this song speaks to me. And I love the way that part one is almost like, dung, 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 you'll hear it. And then the second part goes into a real bad boogie, the way it drops, and of course, it's the whole thing. Life is just a moment, and the harmonies and Roy Ayers and all of these kind of things. That's number one. Any of the others?
Life by Bob Andy.
Life, that's also speaks for itself. Life is what no which one's that one? Bob Andy's Life. The more you put into life is the more you're going to get out. So that's an obvious one. Go ahead.
Lover's Lane, Tina Marie and Howard Hewitt.
Lover's Lane, I've picked that one because on our walk, my PR company, Passion PR, they have named the walk Lover's Elayne Walk. So they're playing on the lane and Elayne. So Lover's Elayne Walk. There's that. Yeah, so that one there. So I kind of got that as a backdrop. And then the other one?
The last one was Jehovah.
That one's very special to me. It's not been released. That is actually going to be on the Fly Fresh and Fat Volume 2 album, and it's made by my son and one of the artists that was actually on Fly Fresh and Fat Volume 2. She now has a restaurant in Ladbroke Grove, and her name is Rosita. And they didn't tell me they were doing it. They just went into the studio and made it, and I just thought that it was beautiful. And this track is about a good 4 years old. So, and even now it's up to the time. So when we're ready to put it on the album, we'll probably brush it up a little bit. But, it's a beautiful track. It's just a beautiful track. Yeah, with lovely words.
Okay, so we'll play those tracks as the outro for this chat today. But you were stating some poignant words back then. And I was watching a film the other day. I stay up quite late. I kind of watch TikTok. I'm gathering news.
Me too.
And I was up last night till it was 2:45, and I was like, go to bed, literally go to bed, Alison, because you've got to get up in 3 hours. So most nights I'm up till really late doing video editing or whatever, and then I've got TV on in the background, just watching sometimes these really bad films on Freeview or something. But there was a sign in the bar. And this woman had, I think she had transported back in life. It's called Hindsight. And it had some really good words. And it said, do not pursue the past. Do not lose yourself in the future. The past no longer is. The future has not yet come. Look deeply at life as it is. And I actually wrote this down, wrote it down because I thought it was perfect words there to end the show with. Do not pursue the past.
This is all
not
we've got.
Lose yourself in the future. The past no longer is. The future has not yet come. Look deeply at life as it is. It's a Buddhist proverb. Absolutely excellent.
Beautiful. Well, my darling, this very moment I am so in love with you, and it will continue. Big up to Zach, man. He knows what he's doing. Fantastic. Well, you keep that seat
Yeah.
nice and warm, and then I'm pretty sure you'll hand over the baton in time to somebody else who's worthy of it. But thank you so, so much, my darling. Thank you. It's been beautiful. What a lovely morning.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a brilliant morning, and we will talk soon. Thank you. Mix
Definitely.
Clouders, give it up for DJ Elayne Smith here, coming to join the house party queen. Thank you so much. Big love. Send some love hearts in the chat room. Thank you again, and we will see you soon.
Take care, my darling. Have a blessed day.
You too. Wow. So that was the wonderful DJ Elayne here. We have gone completely over time, but I couldn't stop that. I just had to keep going on there and chatting away to that lovely, lovely lady. Honestly, my heart feels a little bit enriched this morning from having this interview. I've got a smile permanently on my face. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for the love hearts there. I'm feeling all the love there. What a wonderful, wonderful lady. Now, she explained some of these tracks that I'm going to play now. This is my outro. And these are tracks that the lovely DJ Elayne has selected. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll come back to you shortly. To everyone in the chat room there. What a great interview that was. She's such a wonderful lady. I've enjoyed my morning thoroughly. I hope you guys have too. As I said, the weather out there today is going to be 20 degrees in London. If you are in London, enjoy the sunshine outside. I know I am. I know I'm going to be working from home in my garden today. I've got new chairs. I'm going in my garden. So I want to say thank you to the chat room also, everyone that's been locked in. Sharky DJ, thank you for the love. Touch T, you as well. T Smooth, Cheryl A, that came on earlier on. Who else have we got on? We've got Laurie, ETYS, and of course the lovely Surreds. Sorry, I didn't mean to miss you out, sir. The wonderful James Capone. Good morning, sir. And big love to the LWR radio station for locking into this show today as well. And you, of course, Melly Mel.
Who's calling, please?
LWR talking to you. Stay right here on LWR.
Now, as promised, Life is Just a Moment, Part 1 by Raw Airs. This is Part 2. This is DJ Elayne's selection choice. Yes, I've got the lovely Willow Cat. She comes to often join me in the studio. She's not making an appearance on camera right now. She's just snuggled in. Gonna get her a pair of headphones. So don't forget, if you want to listen to this interview and much more and know what's going on with the House Party Queen, don't forget to subscribe, mixcloud.com, HPQ, or you can even subscribe on YouTube, House Party Queen, Facebook, HPQ 2020, and Instagram, The House Party Queen.
LWR.
So we'll have a bit of Live by Bob Andy. I love this track. Everybody sings this track, right? Know all the words. I'm gonna mute myself though.
If everything in life was right, then we would never have to fight. So if we never use the brain, then only carcass would remain. If man had never used his hands, then he could never understand.
Doesn't this song just take you back to the days that Elayne and I was talking about earlier on, when your parents would put on the gramophone or whatever music system they have, and your dad will bring out the collection of records. My dad used to do that on a Sunday. Drunk, but he used to do that on a Sunday.
Cultivate humility to brave the stormy weather. Oh, my brother, and heed my foolish words. You see, the more you give to life is the
This
more
is a class joint from
Okay.
a class station.
I'm supposed to be at work, you know. But for you, Adelaide Mackenzie, you wanted to pull up. This is DJ Elayne's selection. I can't take all the credit, I'm just playing the music for you.
If everything in life was right, then we would never have to fight. So if we never use the brain, then only carcass would remain. If man had never used his hands, then he could never understand the joys of making this and that, like winning money from the slot. Forget about stupidity, discover your ability, develop your creativity.
I swear this song is bringing back so many memories. Reminds me of my late mum. Honestly, she loved tunes like this. And she used to rock. Remember they used to rock when their dancing was no scrubbing. They rocked, yeah? That lovely entwined rocking. Miss that.
You see, the more you give to life is the more you're gonna get from life. So go on and give, don't count the cost. And the less you give to life is the less you're gonna get from life. So save all your dough and your soul might be lost.
Doing the rock dance. I love watching them do that
If every
dance.
man should be the boss, there'd be no one to groom the horse, mechanics none to fix the car, no humble man to spread the tar. If every man should be on top, now tell me what the hell could stop? Top heavy from a fatal drop, extinct would be the mortal crop. It's time we learn to be satisfied. Curtail resources running wild. Too much have you get
And
rid
in
of some.
tune to the sounds of the house party. So I'm just going to play the last track by DJ Elayne. She gave me these tracks. This is Lover's Lane by Tina Marie and Howard Hewitt. This is my very, very last one before I sound off for work. Thank you guys, you've been a pleasure today. Don't forget, next week, back on the Breakfast Connection from 7 till 9 a.m. with the House Party Queen.
The closest thing that I can say is that you make my love sigh. A drop of tenderness and a bit of romance, baby. Sprinkle all your love on me. You're my fantasy.
Sweet like honey to a bee. Baby, you arrested me.
And don't forget to have a fabulous day, people. It's going to be 20 degrees. I keep saying it out there. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the bank holiday weekend. And I'll see you again next week.
In my solitude, take me on a ride down Lover's Lane. I'll go with you.
Let me take you down with me to Lover's Lane.
Half a mile from heaven, you'll be glad you came. I don't need nobody, babe. No one else but you. I made a private reservation.
And thank you for joining Stacey Lavon Collier, all the way from Jefferson, Indiana. Thank you for tuning into the show today. You miss London so much? You're not missing much.
Become so blasé.
And thank you to you, Elayne Smith. I enjoyed being on your show. And your last tip, as you said, is to be kind and loving to everyone you meet. That goes out there for everyone. Be nice. Say something nice to someone today.
In my dreams, I only need one woman to share my life with me. Ooh.
Seems like we've always been connected, whether near or far. I travel across the galaxy to be just where you are.
Yo,
Make
our
me
DJ.
how sweet, baby.
Spark.